Welcome to Prophecy Watchers. I'm Gary Stearman, on stage with Bob Ulrich, and we have a very, very special message for you. Bob, I'm going to let you kick it off because you've got all the details.
Well, it's a big day for Prophecy Watchers. Gary and I are here to celebrate our 11th anniversary as a ministry. And all I can say is, look what God has done, Gary. He has blessed us beyond belief. And we're really here today to say thank you. There's so many people who have made such an enormous difference in the lives of this ministry. Generous people, faithful people who just continue to amaze us at their belief in what we do here. Our goal here is really pretty simple. We believe Jesus is coming soon, and we want to keep people out of the tribulation. Isn't that right?
That is right. In fact, if you noticed, the world is now in a state of tension, such as I haven't seen since I've been alive. And I've read a lot of history, and I know where things like this lead. And that's why Prophecy Watchers is on top of the biblical prophecy that may give us some insight into what's going on these days. And you, our faithful followers, have enabled and continue to enable us to do what we do.
Now, looking back in Old Testament times, there was a man named Abram from Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram left his home at the Lord's urging, left the idolatry of the area, and moved to a land today that we know as Israel. Now, he was 75 years old at the time. What I do find ironic, Gary, is that you founded Prophecy Watchers at 75 years of age. Who starts a new ministry at 75?
I suppose very few people do, but age never even entered into my mind. And Bob, the years have flown by so fast, and I have been blessed with good health, except for a little heart problem about 2.5 years ago. But even then, the Lord brought me back, and I feel great. I feel energetic. And by the way, our work continues, I think, at a faster pace than ever. But Bob, I never really even thought about being as old as I am now. And it's interesting that you brought that up.
It kind of sneaks up on you, doesn't it?
It does.
You know, I look back on the early days, there's so many new people involved with Prophecy Watchers now who really don't know our story, don't know where we came from. I look back all the way 11 years ago when Gary and I left another ministry, Prophecy in the News. You were there for 25 years.
Yes.
I was there for 20 years. And one day things came to a head and we decided we were going to start a new ministry. And, we left with nothing. We literally shot a television program in your family room with one camera in front of a fireplace. And I can remember your introductory words when we launched the ministry. Bob, I haven't retired. I haven't been resting. I've been making big plans. And of course, God was the one making those plans for us at the time. And so looking back 11 years ago, it's amazing where God has brought us. Literally a worldwide television program, a monthly magazine called The Prophecy Watchers. Here's the latest edition, which just arrived today. And we just look back on God's blessing and just say, look what God has done.
It's fascinating to go back over the near past, let's call it. And as you mentioned, the Prophecy Watcher, do you remember how we came up with that name?
I do.
Tell everybody. I think it's a really interesting story.
Well, we kicked around a whole bunch of names. And I actually, came up with the Prophecy Watcher's name, but not in the way you think. I was sitting in a little restaurant in Silverton, Colorado with L.A. Marzulli and his wife, a little place called Handlebars. And we were in front of this roaring fireplace. My wife and my daughter were there with us. It was right after one of our prophecy conferences. And L.A. was trying to start a television ministry. And he was trying to come up with a name. And he said, Bob, you've got to help me. I need a name for the ministry. Well, at the time, Richard Shaw was L.A.'s partner. And L.A. gave me Richard's name, which was Watchers TV. So I looked at him, I said, well, that doesn't really have any religious connotation to it, any prophetic connotation to it. It's just a generic name. Is anyone even going to know what you're talking about? And he said, well, give me some help. I said, well, why don't you just put the word prophecy in front of it and call it Prophecy Watchers? Well, L.A. looked at me and his eyes got really wide and he said, I love that. So I took out my credit card and my phone. I went to GoDaddy.com, and much to my shock and surprise, the URL address was available. I bought it for L.A. Marzulli, literally right on the spot in Handlebars Restaurant. And L.A. got home and he talked to Richard about it. And Richard said, I hate it. I hate that name. I don't want that name. It's too spiritual. And Richard wanted to appeal to a whole world of unsaved people. That was his niche in life, reaching the lost. So about a year went by, maybe even a year and a half went by, and we started searching for a name for ourselves. And lo and behold, I said to Gary, what do you think about the name Prophecy Watchers? Because we're the Prophecy Watchers, but our audience is the Prophecy Watchers. And push came to shove. I said to L.A., I need a favor. I need that name back. And graciously he said, Bob, you're welcome to it. That's the story of where the name came from.
That is the story. And I'm holding the October 2025 edition. And when you turn to page 3 in the Prophecy Watcher, you always get a little editorial that I write. And this one just happens to be about watching, Bob. And I note here that in 1 Thessalonians 5:6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do all the work of the evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. And this is just a tiny part of the editorial that I wrote about the word watch. It's amazing how many times that word occurs in the Bible and how many times it is phrased as a command. Hey, go out there, keep watching, watch. And you know, that's been our close for a long time. Keep watching, everybody. And that's basically what we do.
Well, we're doing something else these days. We're actually listening, and we're listening for the sound of the trumpet.
Oh boy.
Rosh Hashanah, just a few days away, the Feast of Trumpets. Wouldn't it be funny after our 11th anniversary if this was our last program together?
Well, you know, it could be. We live in extraordinary times. Let's call them dramatic times. And they are times that remind us very much of what the Bible says the latter days will be like. And Bob, have you noticed, and I say this tongue in cheek, but have you noticed how many people are setting a date for the rapture lately?
I've heard that from a few people here. My inbox is full of probably 30 or 40 messages, asking me for confirmation of the date of the rapture. And of course, we're not going to do that.
Oh, no.
We do believe it's an imminent event. World events have taken shape and are happening so quickly that it has to be soon, doesn't it?
But the fact that people are setting dates, it tells us one thing. They're excited about the nearness of Christ's return. Of course, we're not going to set a date, but we are going to be watching. And when we watch, we have our fingers on a lot of information zones around the world. We have people who contribute to our magazine. People are calling us, writing to us, talking to us constantly about their latest observations on Bible prophecy. And I think we are on top of that situation, Bob.
You know, what started out with one little camera in Gary's family room has now turned into an international ministry, reaching into the four corners of the world in unexpected ways. Who would ever think we'd be getting calls from people and emails from Singapore and Australia and New Zealand and Canada and Japan and Tonga and every place on earth. God has blessed the work here. He continues to bless the work here 11 years later. Are you going to have some of this cake today?
Bob, it looks pretty good. It's an 11th birthday cake here for Prophecy Watchers. And we're going to go for the 12th year, and maybe the 13th year, and maybe the 14th year. But who knows? We're living in the sort of times that we can't really predict. And that's what makes it so exciting for us. I think that the heart of Bible prophecy is knowing how close everything is and yet not really knowing at all. And so we're going by faith. That is our motivator. It is the element that's most important when we seek direction, when we seek topics that the Lord would want us to print in the magazine and produce on television. It's faith, it is excitement about what's going on, and things are getting more and more exciting all the time.
Now we see through a glass darkly, but then one day, face to face. I hope you're excited about seeing Jesus. I hope you're watching. I hope you're listening like we are. Thank you so much for blessing this ministry. Without you, we don't have a ministry. God made this possible, and you continue to help us continue to take the gospel to the four corners of the world.
Well said, Bob. And may the Lord bless our ministry, and may we be a blessing to you. Keep watching, everybody. We are.
Thank you so much for joining us today here at Prophecy Watchers. We hope today's program has strengthened your faith and given you a deeper understanding of God's prophetic word. Prophecy Watchers is a viewer-supported ministry made possible through the faithful support of friends like you. You can give easily by visiting prophecywatchers.com.